Hello guys, Raptor here. One of our group members has kindly allowed me to analyze this replay and post it up publicly. I don't usually do replay analysis through videos, and most of the time I write it in documents and I submit it to the end user straight away. But I would say this is a special case that I like to do, and I'm making this into maybe 3-4 part videos, so that people don't see it as that long. And our friend is actually playing Huskar right here, and I might actually do a very in-depth analysis on this game for this video, and maybe the next video I'll do a more uh, amateur player oriented analysis, so that both type of players are actually learning from this. So let's get started. Alright, so the first thing that I like to talk about is creep aggro. So every time someone lanes mid, I would like to emphasize that um, when these creeps they get to your high ground instead of the enemy necro's high ground, it's always beneficial to you, because if necro is trying to last hit on the low ground and the creeps are on the high ground, he'll get 25% miss chance, so it's a very good advantage to your lane, so that you can out CS and out deny the Necrophos. And if he's bold enough to walk all the way from the low ground to the high ground just to simply not miss last hits, what can Huskar do here is right click Burning Spears, harass him off the lane, and he won't be able to trade hits with you, because if he right clicks you, he'll drag all the creep aggros towards him and screw up his lane by himself and tank all the extra damage from these creeps. So the thing that I want to say here is, as as a mid player, the strongest thing that you could use to your advantage is creep aggro towards your high ground. So in this case, I would right click on Necro, so that I'll be able to pull these two creeps even further into my high ground. Definitely not below tower, because this midi creep right here, he's not fully on the high ground, and Necro will be able to attack this creep without a mischance. So definitely you should pull these two towards further above your high ground. Right, look here. Um, Look at what Huskar did not do, is that he did not pull Necro's creeps towards Dire's high ground, so that Necro won't be able to deny his creeps as well as last hit properly. Maybe these two creeps, yes, they are fully on the high ground, but not these two creeps. So all these simple, not to say simple, but straightforward mechanics, uh, tiny mechanics, is what makes up mid lane, and how do you win it in terms of CS. And the second thing I want to emphasize here is, since Huskar, right, he moved in the lane for 1 minute already, and he hasn't checked Necro's items once, not even once. So how do you, as a mid player, or as a core player, as a support player, any roles in general, once you enter your lane, the next thing that you have to do is check your enemy in lane's items, so that you will know that, okay, Necrophos has one set of tangos, and what I have is a set of tangos and a salve. So what does this mean? can I out-regen Necro? Can I trade hits with him? So the answer is definitely yes, right? Because Huskar hits way harder than Necro at lower levels, and having Burning Spears and passive will definitely make Huskar a really hard hitter right now. Factoring in that his regen is way more than what Necroforce is carrying right now. Even with Death Pulse, having a level 2 or level 3 heal won't even deal that much because it's only what, 80 to 100. So if I were Huskar, I'd definitely out harass Necroforce when I'm level 2 or level 1, so that Necroforce will have to back off all the way, and what will he be forced to do is fetch a Salve using his career career right here, all the way to him. And how many creep stats, how many creeps would he miss if he's forced to hug his tower? Imagine that. So maybe by level 3, Huskar will be stuck at level 3 on the way to his 4, and Necro will be stuck at what? 1.5? Not to mention that he wouldn't even get his 3, while Huskar might already be on his way to 4. So you get what I mean, right? Right here. Huskar should have definitely taken creep aggro toward his high ground. Alright, like you see this, how hard is Necro last hitting and denying from the low ground if enemy creeps are on the high ground? Look at this, look at how Necroforce is actually doing right now. It's actually way bad for him because of the position of the creep waves, and he had to throw out this nuke because he can't trade hits with Huskar, as well as tried to last hit. But having three range creeps on Huskar's side will definitely push this wave out. But it's really good for Huskar because it's almost 2 minutes and he might get the rune, the 2-minute rune. Right, speaking about runes, right? Um, what I want to emphasize here is every time, okay, obviously these two heroes aren't bottling heroes, but if you're playing a Puck against Lina or Wind Ranger against a Quap, what you want to do here is to push out the fighting creep wave here towards your enemy tower so that you'll be able to get the rune, the 2-minute rune, the 2-minute power rune, so that you're able to win your lane and able to refill up your bottle, right? Able to keep up regen compared to your enemy, so that you'll be able to win the lane, trading hits effectively as well as spells. And I want to emphasize on every time you push this out towards enemy tower, I mean before the power rune spawns, like let's say it's 147 or 347 or maybe even 547. So you'll be able to get the rune here, and every time you push this lane out, the enemy mid laner has two choices to make. Either he runs for the rune or he defends his tower. So every time he runs for the rune, you should apply tower pressure. You should definitely apply tower pressure because he's off for what, 10 seconds, right? He's off for 10 seconds. And how hard can you hit the tower? How hard can you apply pressure to this tower? Every time this Necro stays instead of getting the rune, you know that okay guys, I have 50% chance to grab a rune and out regen my enemy mid laner. That makes perfect sense, right? But in this case, it might be because two of them aren't bottling heroes. They don't buy bottles, so runes might not be that super important towards both of these heroes. That's the only justification that I can actually justify right now. So every time you get a bottle, push this out, push the creep wave out, and grab the 2-minute rune before it spawns. You have to be there before it spawns so that you win the rune domination. You get to claim it. You get to claim that as your territory, and maybe the supports from top lane or bottom lane won't be able to um contest it with you because you're right on that spot. And the second thing is that I want to tell you guys that um to to predict when these creeps meet at the mid lane, every 44 second 0.44 or 0.24 creeps will reach their tier 1. Like right now, right? It's 309. I'm going to speed this up for a bit. See this, it's 314 every time the creep wave reaches tier 1 mid, and it's 47 or 27 that it reaches bottom. Sorry, not 27, it's actually 17 and 47. Yep, my bad. It's actually 17 instead of 27, my bad. So every time they fight here, during its 17 or 47, you should definitely push this out. It takes around um, 5 seconds if you have a nuke, an AoE damaging spell like a Park or a Lina. Um, it takes 5 seconds so that you're able to run all the way top to get the power rune before it spawns. And if you don't have a creep clearing spell, you might not want to get a bottle, right? That's what Huskar is doing. He's not getting any bottles because he does not have a creep clearing spell. Let's face it. Alright, and during minute 3, the thing that I want to say as a mid player, you have to look at the how do I say this? The threatening heroes that might gank you during the first night. That makes perfect sense, right? I mean, they'll gank you. You're playing mid, and enemy heroes are bound to shut you down. They have to shut you down. So, um, when you look at these heroes on top, their color codes are blue for Legion, teal for Treants, purple for Spectre, yellow for Viper, and orange for Necrophos. So, orange is already here, laning against you. So, who would gank you? Who do you think is likely to gank you during the first night? So, common sense says that it's Treant, right? Because he's a solo support here with a decent ganking spell, actually 2 decent ganking spells, being invincible and his second spell. So whenever you think something like this, where will he show up? If he shows up, where do you think will Trian show up? So if we noticed, if Huskar noticed, Trian was top, so it's likely that he'll walk this way, right? This pathing, using the river and top rune all the way here, right? So he'll be hiding here, invisible, right? Factoring in tower's range, right? So he'll be standing here. It's very likely that he'll be standing here if he wants to gank, right? And the second path is he TPs in right here, and then he walks straight in front to gank, but that's very unlikely, right? Let's face it. So I want you guys to pay attention to which threatening heroes that will gank you at mid, so that you be able to play safe. Like right now, where is Trian? Let me ask you this question: where is Trian? can the Huskar answer that? Because he's not showing up in the minimap. Let me just toggle the fog so that we don't see it as well. Alright, now Trian shows his face, but every time Trian goes off for 5 seconds, Huskar should play passively because he might die from ganks like this. And when I say that he might die from Trian, let's face it that Legion won't be able to gank Huskar because she has no Shadow Blade, no dagger, right? So and no level 6. So how will Legion gank Huskar? It won't succeed, right? So if Legion goes missing, I would say it's close to zero threat for Huskar, right? And Spectre is gonna farm her way all up to level 6. So it's very good to keep track on these global heroes on the scoreboard so that um, we know which level is she currently in. Like Zeus, Nature's Prophet, AA, Spectre, heroes like this. And the next one is Viper. Viper is gonna farm his way up to level 6 as well, right? And he's gonna push towers with his Dragon Lance or mech. That is common sense, right? So the only hero that we are worrying about here is actually Treant. If Treant's missing, Huskar should play passively if he's scared to die, but in this case he might not die because he has regen, Fairy Fire, Wand. So as a mid laner, maybe if you're another mid laner that's a glass cannon like Shadow Fiend or Invoker, so you have to play passively on your high ground, your side of the high ground, just to think that guys, I don't want to die to ganks. Or you're able to tell your teammates, I'm not sure. There's no support heroes, maybe Purge, right? Maybe Purge. And then the next thing you have to do is check your support's TP if he has a TP. So if he has a TP, you might trust him to TP support if you get ganked and save you or turn this around, right? However, if you check, oh, my support has no TP, so how should I play this lane? Should I play it passively? Should I go neutrals? So what's your next move? Standing here is definitely wrong. It's definitely wrong, way wrong, because Shin is able to just TP here and walk up and gank you on your ass straight up, right? That makes sense. And the next thing I want to say is every time you get an illusion rune, people say that it's very beneficial for lanes, right? Very beneficial for mid lanes because you're able to get around 100% creep stats without worrying that your enemy mid laner will be able to harass you. So every time this clock it hits 45 or 40, you should definitely use your illusions, move them towards neutrals, so that by 53 you're able to stack this, and by 55 you're able to stack this. So using two illusions to stack these camps will be able to boost your farm later on, right? So you'll be able to farm four camps at the same time. Imagine that. Imagine how much gold will that net you instead of letting your illusion rune expire this way. So why not use it efficiently? Right, see how Necrophos was playing way aggressively just now? Like walking up to the high ground. Alright, so if you were the Huskar in a 4K game, what would you think? Right, the first thing that I would think of is, guys, the train is right beside me, I'm gonna die right here. Because the train hasn't showed himself for around 10 seconds, 20 seconds, and I will die here. That's what I would say. And checking Necrophos's level, he's level 6. So, the fact that Huskar did not check his items, his levels, it's a grave mistake to make. Definitely check your teammates' items, your enemies' items, so that you'll be able to respond accordingly to how you should play your lane, when you should go neutrals, when you should gank side lanes, etc, etc, right? And don't forget about knowing your enemy's items as well, because imagine when Necrophos catches you off guard with his surprise Dagon at minute 10. Imagine that. How often has that happened in your games? Not to mention Puck's dagger simply blinking in on you, and then simply using ulti, what you call this, waning rift, illusory orb, and then you simply died because you did not check the Puck's items. That makes perfect sense, right? So check every time when you're not last hitting, like right now, how much concentration do you need right here? It's basically zero, right? For 2 seconds until this creep dies. That makes sense, right? So these 2 seconds, it can be used to simply click on Necrophos. Guys, Necrophos has a bottle. He has no boots, he has no TP. So you guys might be able to play more aggressively and check Spectre's items, Spectre's levels, Trian as well. So I'm not saying that you can check 3 lanes in 2 seconds, but maybe at least check Necrophos's items. So like in this case, right, I'm gonna pause this part. Alright, so the next thing that you have to do is deny this creep, right? So after you deny this creep, um, it simply takes like 1 second, 2 seconds to check. So I'm gonna right click this and then I'm gonna check. Simple as that. Go back, click, check, go back, watch top, and then go back. Right? That makes sense? It's as simple as that. So whenever you check, you get information, and information is definitely a very, very important thing in Dota. Okay, last hits. Missing last hits, I can't really talk much about it. Alright, seeing enemy heroes are missing, going NC is a very good choice instead of running boldly into the enemy tower like what Huskar is doing right now. Because having zero vision in the map is definitely a bad idea against those heroes. Spectre's ultimate, Viper's ultimate, Necro's ultimate. If you're on the low ground and you won't be able to see what's actually coming to you on the high ground, or what's actually going, how you call this, going around you to grab a gang on you. So it's definitely a bad idea to play so aggressively during the night and having no vision. So every time enemy heroes show their faces on top, show their faces bottom, it means that, okay guys, I'm safe. And on a higher tier, in higher tier games, I would really uh, emphasize to always check the gankers whether they have a TP. So in this case, uh, whenever Trian shows his face top, always check whether he has a TP and whether he's 6. So whenever he has a TP, whenever you play aggressive, can you see as a Huskar? Will you be able to see that Trian TPs in here, walks up to you invisible, hits you one time, roots you up, uses his ulti on you, and Necroforce clicks you down and uses his ulti. So will you be able to um know that if you don't check Trian's items? No, right? So every time what I like to do is I always check, let's say Viper, because Viper, he's not gonna be able, I mean, no, he won't gank you as a player because, well, he's farming well, right? So he'll continue farming here, and the only one that's bound to gank you right now is probably Legion or Trian, because it's 8 minutes and Legion jungling probably has a 6, which is here right now. So it's always Legion and Trian in this game, ganking you in the mid lane. So every time you see Trian goes missing for 5 seconds, back off, go neutrals, stack neutrals, and wait until the Necro kindly pushes the lane back to you. So you come back and farm because it's under your tower and you're probably very safe under your tower. Right, I'll stop the video probably at minute 10 and I'm gonna make the next part, so I hope it doesn't bore you, the mechanics that I'm talking about, the map awareness, and I hope that you'll be able to learn uh, from what I have commented in the laning phase. If you're still interested, you should tune in on the next video about his mid game right here. Alright, I'm gonna stop this here. Thanks for watching.